everybody, and welcome to Best Practice. With me today is Dr. Mark Glynn. He's been involved in an initiative with the Erasmus Plus funding programme. Here he is to tell us all about that. So, you are Dr. Mark Glynn, Head of Teaching Enhancement Units at Dublin City University. You've been working on a collaborative project that revolves around academic integrity. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what inspired that project and a kind of overview of what it looks like.
Okay, yes. So thanks very much for the invitation to chat to you today. It's an Erasmus Plus funded project that I'm working on. And we're one of the partners that lead our Ilia State University. And the whole concept behind the project is to improve academic integrity within the university sector. Or indeed, another way of looking at that is tackling the issue of plagiarism.
Yeah.
We're trying to be more proactive with our approach by working on a prevention is better than cure approach, rather than try and use software, text matching software as a stick to beat people with. We're trying to use assessment design approaches to improve students' understanding and indeed ownership of academic integrity.
Right.
So we were originally approached by the partners following a workshop that we gave them on the use of Moodle. And we get invitations to participate in projects like this and provide workshops to European partners on a regular basis. But when they approached us, it was to teach their staff how to use Turnitin, a particular technology which specializes in text matching.
Yeah.
And we initially refused because what we want to do all the time here within Dublin City University is lead with the pedagogy and not with the technology. So the conversation very quickly turns to we will provide workshops on assessment design and how to proactively reduce the opportunity and the rationalization for plagiarism.
That's fantastic. I mean, that speaks to the heart of this kind of video series, really, that we're not looking at specific bits of software. We're looking more about the pedagogy and what does good look like, and how can we implement best practice, as opposed to looking at specific individual solutions. So what did you end up building in the end?
Well, our first port of call really is to look for good practice, like you said about this series. So look for good practice, and we scoured the literature and seen what other people were doing already. I'm a firm believer in not reinventing the wheel. And from the literature review, we looked at it specifically to do with assessment design and how it tackles academic integrity. And we were able to derive 7 principles of academic integrity. And from those 7, we then circulated around to my counterparts within the sector, and indeed wherever I had a friend that took full advantage in that respect of their expertise, and said, here's 7 that we've came up with, 7 principles of good practice around academic integrity. Are we missing any? And with all of the feedback that we got from our various contacts throughout the sector, we were able to distill additional principles down to 5 additional principles. So in total, that left us with 12 principles of academic integrity. And they could clearly be subdivided into the institution, stuff the institution can do to improve academic integrity, the lecture, so what the lecturer could do through assessment design, and then the students, what they can do in partnership with the lecturer, and that's a key point to this, that it is a student-staff partnership, what they can do to improve academic integrity within assessment.
That's interesting then. So you had 3 different core stakeholders, yes, and then a set of principles for each category, I suppose. How did it go down with the students? Was there any pushback, or did they embrace the idea?
It actually went down incredibly well. So there was, just to give you an example, there is an annual international event on academic integrity, and Academic Integrity Day. And within DCU, we had so many initiatives lined up around academic integrity. We had an Academic Integrity Week. And part of that week, we ran a student declaration wall. And what that involved was we went out to the student areas in the canteens, the libraries, the corridors, and we asked students to write on post-its and stick them up on the wall their declaration or their promise towards academic integrity. And while it was initially difficult at the start, so we were nearly cajoling students to put up post-its, but as the wall starts to be coloured and decorated with all the multitude of declarations from students, we attracted a huge amount of interest. And the overwhelming response, and without exception, every single student had actually said, this is a great initiative. They were very proud to be part of a university that's being proactive in this and not trying to catch them cheating, but trying to help them not to cheat.
Yeah, so it's more about that kind of laying that foundations rather than sort of beating them with that stick, kind of saying, like, let's get the principles in place so that we don't need to really follow up on that.
Yeah, and we've also found one of the other principles around the academic integrity was around student ownership and getting students involved in designing criteria for the assessment, or getting students creating material, like creating e-portfolios as opposed to creating a 3,000 word essay or 5,000 word essay. And again, the response has been overwhelmingly positive from students. No, we didn't specifically say you are doing this e-portfolio instead of an essay because it's an improvement in academic integrity. However, when we explained that approach to them, they very much could see the benefits of it.
Okay. So you created the set of principles, but it wasn't something that you mentioned earlier, there were other stakeholders involved.
Yeah, so it's, as I said, we were fortunate enough to be a partner in this project. It's led by the Ilia State University, which is based in Georgia. And just to be clear to your listeners, that's Georgia above Turkey as opposed to Georgia over in the US. Mm-hmm. So within Georgia, there was about 10 higher education partners. And then outside of Georgia, there's ourselves, Dublin City University. There's universities in Austria, Vienna, Austria, and in the UK, and also in Sweden. Wow. So it truly is an international partnership.
And, any logistical challenges there?
Oh, there always is. When you're dealing with people, politics, and processes, even within one university, there is always challenges. But thankfully, this is, as I mentioned at the start, an Erasmus Plus funded project. So quite a lot of the structure is there already. Quite a lot of the ground rules or terms of reference are there already. And then part of the funding that's available through Erasmus is for the management, the logistics management of a project. And we're very, very lucky to have Ilia State University lead this project, because they made the whole thing just so easy. For us, as a partner, it was a seamless process.
Sounds good. Any advice to anybody else looking to do such a collaboration?
I would strongly encourage people to collaborate rather than reinvent the wheel and try just go down the road just for yourselves. I would strongly encourage them to collaborate, but the guiding number one principle I would say, if you are interested in collaboration, is do something that is aligned strategically within your institution, something you're going to do already. Because inevitably, projects like this, when they become successful, they grow legs. And we had put in initially within this project, and I can't remember the exact days off the top of my head, but we had requested funding for example 60 days or 30 days, actually it was closer to 30 days, right, for this project. And in reality, we're after putting in excess of 60 days for it. So now that was fine because it's work we were going to do anyway, but make sure it aligns to the work that you already have planned. Yeah,
sure. I guess it just take over your time if it's not part of your strategy already. It's fantastic. So you've created these principles. I assume people can find them. Where do people go if they want to find out more?
Yeah, so I'll send you a link to the website, and please feel free to embed that within the podcast. Everything is available there for free. We have, because it's Erasmus Plus funding, we've put it under Creative Commons. So free to edit, free to distribute and modify to suit your needs. But all we would ask is that Erasmus Plus and the project are actually credited as the original source. I would encourage you to modify them to suit your own institution, and do so in the knowledge that that's why we created them.
That's fantastic. Well, make sure we get some links into the video. In the meantime, until then, Dr. Mark Glynn of Dublin City University, thank you so much for your time today.
No problem at all. My pleasure. And thanks for the invitation, Chris.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed that. Feel free to utilize the resources Mark supplied. I've popped some links around the video. Please just credit the source. That was best practice. I'll see you next time for the next practice.